Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is State Treasurer Dale Falwell. We thought about putting a picture of Ryan Gosling up as as the person doing the Ask Me Anything today, but we decided that wouldn't be too appropriate. So anyway, now we got all your attention. I'd like to welcome you to the 89th consecutive monthly Ask Me Anything call. As you saw in the media advisory, we're going to talk about the stress that the state health plan is under and the reason we're going to need emergency funding in order to keep our situation from being financed on the backs of those that teach, protect, and otherwise serve. Just to recap, several years ago, we attempted and still attempt to find out what we're paying for healthcare in North Carolina through our Clear Pricing project. In addition to that, there was a decision made to exalt and those that we think are closest to the health and the well-being of our citizenry in the state health plan population. Primary care physicians, mental health specialists, and physical therapists. We think there are other important groups, but those are the groups that have the most potential to keep people out of hospitals. And paying them a reasonable reimbursement rate, it was something that we made a commitment to. Thirdly, about 5 years ago, before anybody was talking about this, we eliminated the cost of diabetes and diabetes testing and insulin for our state employees because of the price gouging that we were seeing there. On top of that, we were hit with COVID, where we spent over $500 million for actual COVID-related expenses. And we've only been reimbursed for about half of that. Lastly, we have enjoyed over the last several years a Medicare Advantage rate that has resulted in zero premium to our members and zero cost to the taxpayers. Those days are over because of what's happening to Medicare Advantage programs. So with all that said, I think it's easy for you to mathematically come to the conclusion of why this is such a serious situation. When you put all this together, it's resulting in what I believe to be another spike in our OPEB, unfunded healthcare liabilities. We have worked tirelessly to do two things. One is to lower healthcare cost, which would lower the trend on the unfunded healthcare liabilities. And number two is to try to build up our reserve funding for our unfunded healthcare liability. When I became the keeper of the public purse, it was 2% funded, and now it's about 10% funded. And we're very proud of that. So a lot of that progress is going to be reversed if we don't get the assistance that we need. With that, we'll open it up for questions. If you want to raise your hand, I'd be glad to answer. Anybody have a question?
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
Fine, thanks. I'm hoping you can walk us through the Medicaid Advantage issues with a little bit more detail.
I'd be glad to. And who is that?
I'm sorry, it's Jack Hagel, WRAL.
From? Oh, hey, Jack. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us. Several years ago, we entered into a negotiation, which for a period of time, because of the largeness of our book of business, we were able to negotiate with Humana, our Medicare Advantage program, zero cost to the member, $4 a month cost to the dependent of that member, no cost to the taxpayers. It was a fantastic negotiation. We had a great working relationship with United Healthcare for Medicare Advantage, and but that business went to Humana. We were hoping to get 2 more years of extensions on the Medicare Advantage product, and we were unable to successfully negotiate that based on a small change in federal law that gave them what I believe to be a loophole in order to not to go into the 5th year of this with zero premium and zero cost to the taxpayers. We've asked the General Assembly to appropriate this money, and we're still working on that. We're still working on getting our COVID money reimbursed. We're still working with the General Assembly to reimburse this money, but there seems to be an attitude, from what I've understand by the General Assembly, just take the money out of the woefully unfunded healthcare liability fund, which, as I mentioned earlier, we've worked hard to get it from 2% funded to 10% funded. The reason that should matter to you, Jack, is that over the last week, I've been on a call with all the rating agencies who are reaffirming our bond rating. And I don't want to put words in their mouth but only to say that as we started actually attacking this unfunded healthcare liability about 7 years ago, the rating agencies were very excited because, according to Pew Research, on per capita basis, North Carolina's unfunded liability for this was behind Illinois. That's how acute this is. So we're looking at increases in Medicare Advantage, based on what's happening. And if you read the Wall Street Journal, Jack, or look at some of the news reports about the Medicare Advantage providers, you'll see this is a nationwide trend. I will tell you that our job as fiduciaries is to watch the pennies and paper clips and negotiate the best deal we can for our Medicare Advantage customers, and we intend to be pursuing that, not just in this particular area, but any area.
Great, thank you.
You have a follow-up?
I might have a few later today. Are you available if I do?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next.
Mayor, I'll chime in. I'm Heidi Kirk, also with WRAL. I'm going to be attending that LGC meeting this afternoon to listen for updates about the Rocky Mount Fire Station. And we got your statement, I believe, yesterday. And I'm curious if you could address a little bit more about those concerns about the financing and some of the lack of communication from the city about their application for the approval of debt to refurbish that station.
Well, thank you for your interest, and we look forward to seeing you either virtually or in person. The city of Rocky Mount made a decision as a city to invest millions of dollars in a piece of raw land. As this started making the news, and it was believed to be for the purchase of land in order to build a casino. The LGC months and months and months ago sent them a letter, and because the city of Rocky Mount, their financial advisor, had decided instead of bringing this in front of the local government commission, that they would finance this long-term asset for 59 months. When you finance something for 59 months, that keeps you from having to come in front of the local government commission. Coming in front of the local government commission would have put more sunshine and transparency about the reason for this land purchase. And at that time, months and months and months ago, and we can provide you this information, we sent a letter and said, if you pursue this in this way, it's going to limit your ability to borrow money going forward. And that is all in writing. Lo and behold, they come in the spring of this year and decided they want to refurbish a fire station, which is obviously an important function. And my staff said that this was not good debt management practices. I sent a letter probably over a month ago to the mayor, the city council, and asking that they redo their financing for this land acquisition and combine it with the monies that are needed in order to refurbish the fire station. And I've never gotten a response to that letter. In the meantime, Alter Homes has, at the last LGC meeting, brought this issue up, and I agreed at that time to put it on the agenda for today for discussion only. Since then, I've reached out repeatedly to the clerk and to the city and asked them, because this meets in Dogwood room in our building, and there's lots of other issues going on with people coming to the LGC today about these late audit findings, for them to tell us if they're going to appear and make their case. And so far, I've received no response. None. I now understand it may be possible that, Alter Homes has met with these individuals. Alter Homes is a member of the local government commission. As the treasurer for decades, I've chaired this commission. So all we're really asking for is what we've always asked for from Rocky Mount: transparency, competency, good government, and no conflicts of interest. And up until a few moments ago, I still haven't gotten a response. What we've gotten is some timeline about what happened here. But the fact is that there are questions about this land acquisition, what it's going to be used for. And the city has known for a long period of time about the need to renovate this fire station. And they could have done the first one and the second one together. They could have done the first one through the normal process, and they chose not to do that. And up to this point, they've chosen not to respond to my simple question about whether they are going to appear or not.
Thank you.
Is that too much information?
That is absolutely perfect. It's likely that I'll have a follow-up after the meeting.
Great.
I got another one, if you don't mind. Is there any update on the weight loss drug negotiations?
Well, I still have my props. What we're asking for to refresh is for Novo Nordisk to sell this drug to those that teach, protect, and serve what they sell it to people in their home country for. If that were to occur, that we could budget that. Your question was, is there any additional information? We have put out an RFI where we're seeking any information from any entity or any person about how to actually solve this problem. Since our last meeting, Senator Bernie Sanders, the United States Senate, has brought more attention to this issue, and which could result in him bringing the executives of these companies up in front of a Senate hearing to figure out why this drug costs so much. And just to be clear, we've never questioned whether this drug works. We're questioning what we're having to pay for it. So since that time, I don't have this in writing, but I think that North Carolina Medicaid is moving down the path to start covering this particular weight loss drugs for those that have heart conditions. I don't think Senator Sanders would mind me repeating this, but when he did the fiscal note on how this would impact Medicaid and Medicare in the United States of America, he said, we're not talking about hundreds of millions or billions. We're talking about nearly $3 trillion expense. So this is really happening. Our job is to be a fiduciary, which means not to put anyone ahead of those that teach, protect, and serve. And we continue to negotiate in that fashion. I will tell you it's further complicated by the fact that this state health plan receives hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in rebates on prescription drugs through our pharmacy benefit manager. At the last state health plan board meeting, we had some independent pharmacists come in, and I don't want to confuse these two things, but just to tell you that our whole rebate program with our pharmacy benefit manager should not be in jeopardy because of a disagreement about one drug. When the RFI went out, we're starting to get other pieces of information from across the state, across the country. People are really interested and we're very interested in what other states are going to do to try to actually solve this problem. Since our last call, we've had our 340B program, which shows the gouging that's going on with cancer drugs in North Carolina, tens and tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of profits off cancer drugs that in the case of Atrium, they're buying them for about $500 a dose and selling them to the state health plan for $6,000 a dose. So this is kind of like an onion. The more we peel it, the more we cry. But we continue to negotiate, regardless of what some of these companies say, that they've put offers on the table. I think the people on this call know that our door, our mind, our heart is always open to try to actually solve this problem on behalf of those that teach, protect, and otherwise serve. I think something's going to break here. I'm not sure, exactly what it is. But my point of saying that is that you can't continue charging somebody nearly $1,200 for a drug that in some estimates costs less than $75 to manufacture. I will say, as the treasurer of North Carolina, I appreciate there being employers and taxpayers in our communities, but there should be a way to resolve this. It's a serious topic, and it's not just this drug; it's other specialty drugs that are driving up the cost of healthcare. So we are cautiously optimistic. We're not playing. It's a serious issue, and I'm only interested in dealing with this with people who are truly focused on solving the problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions? David, you have a follow-up? David Beasley. Okay. Anybody have a final question they'd like to ask? It's going to be a very busy local government commission meeting today. If you've seen the agenda, we're also going to have a report on the North Carolina Department of Transportation funding. So I suggest that you not only tune in about what's going on with the late audits, what's going on with the Rocky Mount situation, what's going on with the DOT. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be discussed today, and we welcome you all.
Talk to you later. Call Dan and I.
Yeah. And if anybody needs a follow-up, just don't hesitate to call Dan or Frank, and they'll be glad to set that up.
Set presidency treasurer.
Huh?
Our presidency treasurer. Yeah. You, Dan, or presidency treasurer.
What does that mean?
Email address is presidencystreasurer.com.
Oh, I thought you said presidential.
No. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Presidente. Okay. All right. The Presidente treasurer comms people will make sure to field any questions you might have. Thank you all for joining us. And I will tell you that as I close, when we talk about the 340B program that many of you have reported on, a lot of states are stunned about this report that's been peer reviewed. They're starting to realize that this is probably going on in their own state. And as I brought up at the Council of State meeting this morning, we're the largest purchaser of healthcare in North Carolina on behalf of those that teach, protect, and serve. But I'm sure that whatever's happening with 340B, that North Carolina DHHS under Secretary Kinsley is also very interested in this report. I wanted to add that as DHHS is attempting to start covering these weight loss drugs for their customers, we're going to be asking what they're paying for it. It should be public record what they're paying for this drug. And if they're getting it cheaper than we are, we're not paying for it anymore. But if there's any opportunity for State Health Plan from a buying power standpoint to work with DHHS, we'd be very interested in that. With that, look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you.